I'm a developer here at CTFGuide, and today I'd like to show you how to use our learning management features here. So you just go to the CTFGuide website. Depending on when we send this email, the URL is either preview.ctfguide.com or ctfguide.com, and you'd be greeted with a homepage that looks similar to this. There's no special it's not like some other tools where you might have to go through an entirely different web page to access your your academic related features. Here you just log into our normal platform. So I just go here, I click login. If you have an account already, you can just sign in. I don't. Well, I do. So I can just click sign in. But if you don't, just say don't have an account, and then you fill the information here, and then you were taken to a second page where we ask for your full name, when you were born, for the legal reasons, and if you agree to our terms of service and whatnot. So you go once you create your account. Sometimes it asks you to re-log in just to make sure you know your password and everything. So I'll just sign in here, and here I'm greeted with my dashboard. My username is Laughties. Just something I share with my GitHub. I have my overview. So this is not really related to the teacher features, but we just have it for people who are just using our website to learn by themselves. So the area of interest here would be the classes. So I just go to the classes tab, and you can see that I have some classes here that I've already made before. So yesterday we did 2 days ago we did a trial run with our user base, and you can see we have upcoming assignments, course description, members, a couple of announcements that we were playing around with. So yeah, you can kind of get a sense for the structure, but before I go into depth, I'd actually like to show you how to make a class. So go ahead and click the create class button here. If you haven't made an account before, it's going to try to get you to do a tutorial. You can X out because we haven't actually fully developed that tutorial, so just exit out and then just click create class. So in this case, you'd probably be using psu.edu. So all this does is, someone tries joining our class and they don't have the psu.edu extension, it will not allow them in the course. So I'm going to set the course name. I'm just going to name it testing. Give that, and I'm going to just say this is a demonstration course, and then I'm going to say 20 students. So right now, this information is really needed for us to predict. We just want to keep an idea of what our cloud bill is going to cost, right? So we want to make sure okay, if we want to preload containers at certain times, and just a few other things like that. In the future, though, this may be used for things like controlling billing and a few other things. So you just click submit. And just like that, your class is made. You can see the testing CTF guide. And of course, it says the classes you own. You can always add other teachers to the class. And teachers are denoted with this little symbol here. So it puts the course description here. We're working on getting markdown support here, so you can have a little more pretty course descriptions. You can make announcements right here. So I'm just gonna make one demo. Post. And yeah, it automatically sets the label as important. This is something, this shows up a little more prettier for students. And I think hopefully at the end of this, once I'm done showing the teacher view, I'll actually show you how the student perspective looks like. So right now we have no assignments, so let's go ahead and create an assignment. So there's these two things will always be on every page, except for unless you're looking at an actual submission. So just click new assignment, and I'm gonna kind of break this up, how this works here, right? So you set your I call this just the general settings, right? So you set the title of the assignment. So I'm just gonna do something like demo, and then right now this is kind of just arbitrary numbers. This isn't really useful. It's nice if you're using the CTFGuide gradebook and you want to see what the final grade is. And in the future, what we're going to do is we're going to actually tie the assignment category and points into, tools like Canvas. So yeah. So right now, this is really only used to help with the final grade calculation in the gradebook on CTFGuide. And then I can write some information here. So again, this is not the actual content of the assignment. This is more of general MISC information. Reminders to students. You can link to relevant resources. So, in this case, I'm just going to quickly reference a nice little command basics video lecture here, copy this, and I'm going to just throw here, say, for reference. So you're going to see that there's 3 modes here. We have existing challenges, custom challenges, and dynamic labs. So to kind of like explain the idea of a challenge, for those of you who are very familiar with cybersecurity, there's like this format known as CTF, wherein ultimately everything leads to a flag, right? A keyword. So essentially, you set the flag, and no matter what, the flag needs to be submitted. We still use there's still AI features to it'll still, the flag completion is just like the bare minimum, and then after that it checks if the student actually used the right steps, were they making mistakes, did they cheat, a few other things like that. And then our dynamic labs, which we hope to launch in the coming months, instead of having a flag set, you can just kind of make freely open assignments, and CTFGuide will automatically detect when they've reached, when they've met all the objectives. In programming, it's a little easier for just grading programming assignments. With cybersecurity, with all the tools and whatnot, it's a little hard. So that's why we even built a dynamic labs feature. And then of course you have the assignment due date. You could just type it in, if you like to do things fast, or you could click this calendar icon here, and you get this nice little browser tool to just pick what date you want to do. When we look at that, it's February 29th. I'm gonna make it due tomorrow, on March. And then you can set the time, the typical 11:59 p.m. And then the late penalty is when the student submits something after the due date. You can automatically incur a penalty. I'm gonna do 10%. And I forgot to mention this, but you can choose a category here too. So I'm just gonna do test. This doesn't really change anything other than when we add linking to Canvas in the future. I forgot to choose a challenge option. So the existing challenge is it chooses a challenge that we already have in our library. For now though, I recommend using the custom challenges, because a lot of the existing challenges, they're not exactly I think for a lot of the classes that we're reaching out to now, the challenges are a little difficult. So maybe stick to the custom challenge, and then just click continue. And then you're greeted with our challenge editor here. So I'm just gonna name this demo assignment here. So this is just the challenge name. And then you can set some instructions here. So I'm just gonna say, find the hidden word in the cat.txt file, right? And then you can set hints for the students to see, and if you can set negative penalties. So if they use a hint, it'll minus 10 points, and so on and so on. So yeah, you can, the difficulty in category, it doesn't really matter. The main reason we have it is because it's using our public facing platform, uses the same editor. So technically this is a traditional challenge. It's just that it's private, so only you and your students can see it. So it is actually using the same editor that other people use. And then I'm gonna set the challenge solution here to I'm gonna make it fish, cat like fish, right? And then you can so you have the environment container configuration here. So you have 2 options here, right? You can kind of add Linux commands here that you want to run when the container is booted up for the user, or you can import files. So let's say you have I don't know, maybe it's an image, you're hiding some text in the image, and you want the student to use some tools to extract the flag from an image. As long as you put the image in a folder and you zip the folder up and you upload it here, it'll be deployed in all the containers. Or you could just use Linux commands for the lab. So you could do things like install programs here, all sorts of fun stuff. So I'm actually gonna build this lab here. So it looks like I'm gonna make it. I'm gonna make a folder here. Actually, you know what? I'm not gonna go that deep. Make it a simple lab. I'm just gonna do touch cat.txt, and I'm gonna tell it to put the word fish in our cat.txt. One thing right now that I must know is this doesn't have any validation. So if you use wrong code, it can cause a few problems, like the container doesn't boot up properly or things like that. We are working on like validation, so like it does a trial run when you try to create it. But for now, please test it on like just a blank challenge or something like that. So I'm gonna go ahead and create this challenge here. Nice. So we see the assignments right here, and yeah. So if I go into the assignments view, you can see this nice panel here. If I go to the gradebook, you'll see we have nothing here, but we see our assignment name has propagated here. So it's just waiting for the grades and people to join. And this kind of leads me to the last thing here, the settings panel, right? So you can invite students using a code, but they need to fulfill the email domain requirement. And then you can also invite a teacher by entering their email here, and it'll generate a code, like a URL unique to that teacher. So I'm just gonna remove the email because I don't have like a spare Penn State email to use this with. I'm gonna save my changes here, confirm my changes, and then I'm gonna copy the code. And then I'm gonna make I have a special student window here. And I'm going to go into preview.ctfguide.com and click login. So I'm going to click the student here. They go through the same process of registration and whatnot. The same UI basically. But instead of clicking create class, they click join a class. And then I enter my code here, and boom, I'm in the class, testing CTF Guide. So right now, this is what I was talking about. It shows like the important type a little more prettier here. So yeah, so now we see that the assignment is present for the student. The student also has a gradebook. I realize it shows the student name here, but don't worry, it doesn't show other students' grades here. We have to remove this column. But yeah, and then the student doesn't have much settings. They can leave the class, and we're gonna work on making this prettier. So the student can either click here to view click on a specific assignment. They can click view all. But yeah, so when they click the assignment, we prompt them with the rules, and then they click start hacking. So you can see here we have the for reference and find the hidden word. And I forgot to mention this when I was creating it, but if you actually click, you can actually, when you're in the challenge editor, you can use the full markdown syntax. Alright, so I'm gonna click launch terminal. So it generates the credentials, it loads it up in there. I'm gonna minimize, zoom, like that. And this can take, it takes some time, I'm not gonna lie, it takes up to 30 seconds. We are working on, bringing that speed down. But the most important part is it's consistent, which you don't see with a lot of these other platforms right now. So we're just gonna give it a second to boot up here. And, we try to keep it like, we're working on like making the communication a little better, because we don't want students thinking that it's like broken because it's taking some time to load. But it looks like it loaded somewhat decent here. Nice. And they just click that, it auto copies to the clipboard, copy this, and then they enter their password again. As you know, it's a Linux, so when they enter their password, it'll instead of using like the stars, they use the blank space, which can be confusing to some students. So we're even thinking of making it easier to communicate that. And then I'm gonna run the ls command. So the one thing you'll notice is, first of all, it shows the cat.txt that we made, right? But it shows a few other files. And these files are actually for the streaming service to work properly. So right now, the whole point is like, if they modify anything like with those scripts, the only thing it does is like, it creates like an invalid submission. So there's really no point in doing it. But we understand that it can be confusing to some students, so we're working on, not showing that to the users. So I'm just, obviously the command's pretty simple. Cat.txt was not intended, but it works out. So you get the fish flag here, and then I can just click submit, and it gives me a little check mark, and it gave me a little notice here. So, after you've done all that, you can just go ahead and click the submit assignment. It says assignment has been submitted. The student can always resubmit the assignment. And of course, if they resubmit after the late penalty, it auto adds that penalty. And we're gonna add more features that really make it easier for like, we're really trying to one-to-one canvas in terms of in that aspect, right? So now that everything is submitted, I'm gonna go back to CTF Guide here, go to our the assignment. I'm on the teacher view now, by the way. Okay, so now we are in the teacher view. We're in the submission overview page. Of course for the teacher. Yeah, there's a little bit of padding issue there. We can fix that right after this video. But we see the CTF Guide student here. This would show their full name. In my case, I chose CTF Guide and student first and last. So I'm going to click that, and boom, we have our video right here. So this video is a full playback of their terminal session. You can scroll through all that. You can see the point where I discovered the file fish, and yeah. I submitted the challenge after even though I ran this command, I didn't click submit right away, so it's including that time too. And then I think I just added a slash by accident at the end. And you can actually see this is pretty useful because when we see our open file, it shows the list directory, open file, attempted to input, abort prompt. So if I kind of click through, I can speed through the events. So yeah, it picks up on how I did that incorrectly there. So yeah, in this case it didn't penalize for the 100. It all depends on what you set the how you configure it. So you can, when you're creating the assignment, you can include I just say penalties or rubric, and then paste your rubric in there, and the AI will grade it appropriately. Of course, the AI system is still experimental. The only thing that it's 100% reliable would be this thing here, the video playback, right? We're working on making this really foolproof, but of course, that's no matter what, mistakes are possible. So we're still working on systems to better communicate, the teacher can point out mistakes in the AI, and then it updates its logic based off of that, and the students can either they can accept the grade that they have, or they can request a manual approval. So all that stuff is coming soon. But yeah, and then of course you can go to the grade book. You can modify the grade. 40. You can give them a 0, and it sets their final grade. So yeah, that's that. One little cool thing, well, this is not a cool thing. This is a bug in the CTF Guide. It's the stacking that too. But generate unique logos for everyone, and then we're adding things like custom profile pictures and all that soon. So yeah. Oh yeah, I should notice the reason it's a cat here and a robot there is we're moving from robots to cats because that's our new mascot. So yeah, that's that. Feel free to email me if you have any questions.